Hi, my name's Ben. I work at the Game House, and today we're looking at the top 10 halfbacks or running backs in Madden 24 at launch. Now, we've already done quarterbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, and cornerbacks, so if you want a little more information on those guys, go ahead and take a look back at our previous videos. But today we're going with running backs, and number 1 at a 97 overall is Nick Chubb of the Browns. Now, Chubb is obviously one of the best running backs in the league and an absolute monster in fantasy, if you're wondering. Played all 17 games last year, had over 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns on the ground, was second-team All-Pro, and made his 4th consecutive Pro Bowl. Now, the yards are a career high, and the touchdowns tie a career high, but the Browns were dealing with some quarterback controversies and a little bit of a quarterback carousel last year. I'm not sure if this means his touches are going to go down, but he is still one of the best running backs in the league and deserving of a 97 rating. Christian McCaffrey was a new addition by the San Francisco 49ers last year, a true dual-threat running back. 96 makes a lot of sense. Josh Jacobs at 95. He had a career year last year and a contract year and still couldn't get the big contract. That's been a huge sticking point this offseason. Lots of people talking about running backs and their lack of pay. But next up is Derrick Henry at 94. Now, he was seen as maybe the last true bell cow running back in the league, and he's all the way down to 94 this year for the Titans. Last year, he had the most rushing attempts in the league for the 3rd year at 349, over 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. Finished 9th in MVP voting, 12th in Offensive Player of the Year, 9th in Comeback Player of the Year, and he was a Pro Bowler for the 3rd time. Now, if you look at these other bolded numbers, he's led the league in attempts 3 separate times. He's led the league in yards twice in 2019 and 2020, and led the league in yards per game in 2019 and 2020 as well, with 102 and 126 yards per game, and he has eclipsed that 2,000 mark, something not a lot of running backs have done. His rating did take a dive, but we'll see how much of that is due to the offensive line there in Tennessee. Going to be some big shakeups coming, so Derrick Henry, a little too low for my liking. Saquon Barkley, another running back who sort of failed to get his big contract. There was some franchise tag talk, and then he signed a 1-year deal for a little more than what the franchise tag would have been. I don't know if he counts that as a win, but Austin Eckler certainly doesn't think so. He's yet another running back who is dealing with some trade talks, some trade demands, because he's not getting paid what he thinks he deserves either. Jonathan Taylor's taken a huge dive from last year. Obviously, he was the best running back in the league in 2021, and with his very down 2022 season, goes all the way down to 89. Aaron Jones is another dual-threat running back at 88. Now, he took a pay cut to stay with the Packers this year. Played in all 17 games, 213 attempts for over 1,000 yards. Only 2 touchdowns on the ground, though. He had 395 yards through the air and 5 touchdowns through the air, so that is significant. He eclipsed 1,000 yards for the 3rd time in his career. He led the league in rushing touchdowns in 2019 with 16, plus the 3 receiving touchdowns. He led the league in total touchdowns as well. So still a dual-threat running back. He's definitely going to be a safety valve for this Packers team, who looks like they're trying to make a bit of a push towards a run-heavy offense. Something to look out for there. Tony Pollard, the speedy back out of Dallas, who is definitely going to be the number 1 running back this year. But finally, rounding out the top 10, we have Joe Mixon, who also took a pay cut to stay with the Bengals this year, who have huge championship hopes. Mixon played in 14 games last year, 210 attempts, 814 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He failed to eclipse 1,000 yards as he did in 2018, 2019, and 2021. He's only made 1 Pro Bowl, which is interesting, but he's had more yards from scrimmage than any other running back in the league for a few years during his career. So it's really interesting that he took a pay cut to stay with the Bengals. Seems like he really wants a ring, or maybe he sees what Eckler and Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs are dealing with and would rather stay with a team that wants to win than roll the dice on a team that's still not going to pay him enough. But those are the top 10 running backs in Madden 24 at launch. I'd love to know what you think. Who's too high, who's too low, who should be in the top 10 that isn't. Let me know down below, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.